Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Tonight we are talking about chapters 15 and 16, the law of victory and the law of the big mo. So let's jump right into the law of victory. When I think of this law, I think oftentimes in terms of what is the opposite of this, and that would be quitting. People who are strong in the law of victory are determined to succeed. Quitting is never an option, even when things feel very hard, because quitting would just be absolutely disgraceful to them. So a leader finds a way for the team to win. They are absolutely unwilling to accept defeat. And as a result of that trait, they are going to figure out what has to be done to achieve that victory. Leaders oftentimes work a lot behind the scenes, and they do a lot of things that people never see to get things done so that their team wins and also is unified. And when I think about work behind the scenes to unify a team, when we're dealing with people, oftentimes we especially as your team grows, the temptation is to want to be efficient with your time, like say something once to a lot of people. But when you're dealing with people, you have to sacrifice efficiency so that you can be effective. And so there's so many times where I will, even though I'm saying the same thing over and over and over, I will message people individually so that I can be effective, so that I can make a personal connection. Nobody, like by the time I've messaged somebody something, they don't see the other 5 to 8 times I've already had this conversation, right? They only know what like they're engaging in, but they don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes. Or like January reset, for example. Emily has spent tons of time putting that together, creating content, organizing it all, creating the calendar. Like so much work and planning has gone into that people don't really see, but we all get the benefit from. All right, so Jules, first question of the night. Have you ever seen a leader go to great lengths to get everybody on the same page? And what were the results?
Please pick me because it's my favorite chapter in the whole book.
Okay, I pick you.
The whole book. Have I ever seen a leader go to great lengths? Yes. 2 different leaders in my life. You being number 1, go to great lengths. You were very strategic when you were trying to create this culture of who do I plug in to do what things? What can I do to stretch this person, but where they also feel secure because of this person? Like you were so intentional to create a core unit, and we all trusted you. We trusted whoever you brought into it. We trusted whoever you removed from it. There was just never any doubt, and there was never any drama, which I think is such a huge testament to the expectations you set in place. I also had a leader. Her name's Coach Jones. You guys probably heard me talk about her before. She's in my Diamond Doc, actually. But she did the same thing my sophomore year of high school. I made her varsity team as a freshman. And then sophomore year, she invited me into the leadership group. I didn't even know there was a leadership group for softball, but there is. And it was exclusive, and it was a big deal because an underclassman got to come in it. But she had kind of created the same thing Brittany created with adults, but with teenagers. So she somehow made those upperclassmen value me being there, and then also expected that I would figure out how to add value to those girls. Sometimes it meant just carrying the deck of equipment. I don't know. But yeah, she was super intentional with that. And because of it, we worked cohesively as a team. We won a lot because of that. We all had great ability. If I can brag, we all had good ability, but together, I'm telling you, we won games we never would have won. Here, this team has, y'all, listen, let me brag on Brittany for 1 minute. The number 1 earner in the contest for Portugal, number 1. Everybody say number 1. Her name is Megan. Okay. And I really
Megan, if you're watching this.
Sorry, Megan. I love Megan. Okay. And listen, here's what I love so much. Brittany has been such an intentional leader and giver, and so committed to helping the whole company win, she has other people routinely from other teams say, hey, thank you for helping my team win. Thank you for helping my team win. She realizes it's a collective win for the whole team. There's enough success to go around company-wide, industry-wide. There's no telling who comes to our YouTubes and our trainings to watch. Industry-wide, we want everybody to win. And so I just say all that to say, be a leader who values winning, who will do whatever it takes to help your team win, and then stand back while they win. Brittany has always been a stand back while they win kind of leader.
You're so nice, Christina.
Whatever. Don't make it weird.
You making it weird, trying to make me cry over here right in the middle of this call. But I appreciate those kind words. I really do. It means a ton. And this is probably this chat. I say this every time we read this book. This chapter is definitely your jam. You are really strong in this one. All right. So those were good examples. All right. So when the pressure is on, great leaders are at their best. Whenever is inside a person, that's when it comes to the surface, when they're under pressure. Do they buckle or give up, give in, throw the towel in, or do they tie up their bootstrings and get to work? If you're strong in the law of victory, you're going to tie up your bootstrings and get to work. So, Jules, next question. Often, leaders who find a way for their teams to win, they don't think about themselves a whole lot. They're not solely focused on their own goals because they have a great desire for other people on their team to win too. Why is this? What is it that allows them to think beyond themselves?
Well, I think it's because we rise by lifting others. I mean, the way we are successful and the way we win is to help other people win. Mm-hmm. That's just the bottom line. The more people you help win, the more you're going to win by default. Mm-hmm. It just makes sense.
Yep, totally agree.
Well, and I think this journey starts out a lot about ourselves, right? We're kind of selfish at the beginning, and then you start to achieve that why, and you're like, wait, hold on, like, why am I still here? If it's not the money, if it's not this and that, right? Because you're achieving the things, it really then becomes about your team. And like, I think Christina has said, it's not fun doing the shopping sprees alone, right? It's not fun being on the beaches alone. So it becomes so much more about yourself, and it becomes about like the big impact, what you can do with you and your team and your future team.
Yeah, I agree with everything except the part where you said it's not fun shopping alone, because I definitely find that fun. But I also would love for you guys to come shopping. If
it wasn't fun winning alone, alone.
Yeah.
Shopping's not fun alone or with people.
I mean, it's still fun, but it's more fun if you're not winning alone. Like, let's just be honest, the beaches is real fun, shopping's real fun. But if you have people winning with you, it's significance. Like, it's not even on the same level as doing it yourself. Like, when you know you have contributed to somebody's success, there is literally no other feeling in the world like it. All right. So yes, those are great examples, April. Thank you. And Emily. Early in his career, Michael Jordan relied heavily on his personal talent and efforts to win games. But as he matured, he turned his attention more to being a leader and making the whole team play better. So how that applies to Plexus, anybody can get good at recruiting. Anybody can do that. But you have to be able to help others get good at it too. And that is the law of victory. That is how you all win. All right, Jules, next question. Often in professional sports, we see teams with superstar talent, yet they don't win. You can't win without good athletes, but you can lose with them. So why do you think this is the case? What keeps great athletic teams with massive amounts of talent from winning?
I listened to a podcast. I think I put it in one of the chats that Greg Rochelle did, and he addressed this very thing. I mean, if you think about the NFL, it's the playoffs this weekend, right? Each one of these teams has the best of the best talent. They can all win, and no one comes in saying, he makes the point, none of these teams saying, I want to be fifth, I want to be eighth, I want to be, last, bottom of the division. But what separates them is two things. Well, ultimately the coach, because if the team doesn't win, the players aren't fired. Who's fired? It's the coach.
Yep.
They change the leadership. And it's the vision, the leadership, because you could even say the teamwork. What about the teamwork? But ultimately, it's the coach that allows the lack of teamwork, or allows the selfish, prideful person to, monopolize or whatever. But it's 100% the responsibility of the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So good. Anything else? You said he said two things. What was the other thing he said?
Oh,
Win.
I'm totally drawing a blank.
That's okay. I just did that on our Ruby call.
But you got it back.
I did get it back. Give it a second, Michelle. So I'm coming
That's
back.
right.
I think another reason teams don't win is because they don't have unified vision. Some of the players are thinking, let me get my personal stats where they need to be. Let me be a record setter. Some of the other players are thinking, let's let our team break some records. Other people think, okay, let's let our team just make forward progress. We might not win the Super Bowl this year, but let's just have a better winning percentage than last year. And so everyone's got goals, and on their own individual, like those goals are admirable, but they don't all jive necessarily with each other's goals. And so then it becomes disjointed. That's also where contention comes from. It's where bitterness and comparison comes from. So I think that they don't have a unified vision. And Abby and I had some good conversation about this today. How do we help our team see that their vision, their goals align with our goals? And I think when you're thinking as leaders, your goal is really your vision. And so your people reaching their goals should play into your vision. Your vision should be, generational impact for 10 level 1 diamonds, or whatever your vision is, helping them reach their goals. It should inspire them to know that they're part of a greater plan, of a bigger vision. So anyway, that's why teams lose with great players, or they got too many great players in the same positions. I mean, he says in the book, like, you can't have a football team full of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're a red and you're only looking for reds and you're only willing to deal with people who have your personality, listen, teams can't survive with people just like me. It just doesn't work that way. So that we covered all of them. Then Michelle hit the first one, leadership, and then you said the other two, unity and diversity. So if a team with great talent or potential is not winning, and this is not just for sports, this is for like your team. But if your team has great talent on it, lots of good people, but it's not winning, people aren't ranking up, people aren't getting bigger paychecks, then it's missing one of these three things: unity, diversity, or leadership. So that's the law of victory. It has three elements. Unity, because teams only succeed when the players have unified vision. No matter how much talent or potential there is, a team does not win the championship if its players are working from different agendas. It has to have diversity, because we've got to have different people with different skills to accomplish something huge. Can you imagine a whole hockey team full of goalies? Or like Christina said, a whole football team full of quarterbacks. Can you imagine your whole team being good at only one pillar? What if your entire team was great at recruiting, but neglected the other three pillars? Every person on your team would feel like they are, I call it spinning wheels syndrome. They feel like they're working real hard and going nowhere fast. What if your team was only good at retention? Great connectors, great customer service providers, but don't really want to help these people duplicate or chase a dream, and don't really want to get out there and recruit some more people, right? So we need people who love different parts of the business, so that whatever their strength is, they can shine in it and add value to people around them. Because when they do that, everybody wins and nobody lacks.
Okay, leadership is the third one under things you have to have for law of victory, because you can win without, you can't win without good athletes, but you can lose with them. And so he says that, he literally says this in the book, y'all, I did not make this up. This is where coaching makes the difference. You also need leadership to achieve victory. So let's talk a little bit about unity. Unity of vision does not happen spontaneously. The right players with diversity of talent do not organically just come together on their own. It does not happen. It takes a leader to make those things happen. It takes a leader to provide the motivation, the empowerment, and the direction and the vision, all these things that are required to win. So, Jules, that leads me to my next question. How can you as a leader cultivate unity on your team?
I think having our leaders have emotional maturity to embrace their gifts and honor other people's gifts. It eliminates the jealousy, it eliminates the pride. And so I feel like that is a key ingredient.
That's so good. I love that, Kayleen.
I think it's really important that you can get your teammates together just so they can even get to know each other and be on the same team with each other.
Yep. Definitely got to spend time together. Anything else on how to cultivate unity?
I think one thing that you can do to cultivate unity is just helping other people see the benefits that other people can bring to the organization. I remember when Michelle came along, listen, we're a little protective, okay? And it's just normal human tendency to have some feelings around the idea. I mean, listen, you could take 2 seconds of a look at Michelle and know she was about to be a game changer. And so we had some feelings, but listen, Brittany didn't for a second tolerate there was not really jealous. It just like, it changed. Like, okay, this is about to change. Like our inner circle is going to change. And she allowed for there to be discussion, but she also communicated, this is what she brings to the table. I mean, and she was very clear, like, these are the things that you guys lack. And here's what she's about to bring. Like, she's about to bring some dignity up in here. I mean, I laugh, but I'm for real. That's actually, I think, what she said. But no, she was
an actual conversation. Just
I think it was
not actual,
but kind of. But I'm just saying, we were very clear by the time she showed up on scene, all the reasons why this was going to be a good thing. Like, this is a good thing. This is what it's going to mean for our team. And here's what we'll be missing without her. And I mean, of course, now she ain't allowed to go nowhere ever. So clear and honest communication, number one. Number two, being very explicit in what we all stand to gain from one another. None of us is so good that we can handle all of this by ourselves. None of us. I mean, if it were up to me and Brittany to come up with graphics for this team, it'd be rough. So for many years, Emily carried that burden, many years. So anyways, just being explicit in how everyone benefits from one another. So as a leader, you got to be intentional to know your folks' strengths, know what they bring to the equation, and then articulate that well. In the same way that when Brittany had Molly, she didn't allow her kids to think, oh, great, another baby. This is all the reasons why this is going to be harder for me. She's like, no, this is all the reasons why baby Molly's going to make our life so much better. Like, this is all the things we stand to gain because baby Molly's here. Like, the other alternative is just not tolerated. Like, we just focus on, this is what's beneficial here.
Yeah. So my thoughts on creating unity, cultivate unity on your team. I really think it goes back to what we talked about last week, and that is the law of buy-in. Because to create unity, it means people have to all have the same vision. Like, you're all headed in the same direction. But people buy into the leader and then the vision. It's not the other way around. We talked about that last week. So I think if you want to create unity on your team, it definitely goes back to the law of buy-in. People buy into the leader and then the vision. Okay, now let's talk about diversity. So he says in the book, there was a time in my life when I thought that if people would just be more like me, they'd be successful. I'm wiser now and understand that every person has something to contribute. We're all like parts of the human body. For that body to do its best, it needs all of its parts, each doing its own job. And then he said, and that's a biblical concept, you guys. I mean, that is straight out of the Bible, as it applies to the church, but it's definitely applicable to teams as well and organizations. And the newer you are to leadership, or the stronger your natural leadership ability is, the more likely you're going to be to overlook the importance of other people on the team who are not like you, especially the ones who have a different motivation than you or a different all-inness level than you. Don't fall into that trap. Don't expect that people have to be just like you or do things just like you do it, or be motivated by the same things that you're motivated by in order to be successful, because they don't. Everybody has their own strengths and everybody has something to bring to the table. All right, Jules, what are different strengths that your team is going to need in order to be a successful team? What are some of the strengths you need? Just list them out, call them out, bunch of them.
Connection skills.
Okay. Yep, connectors. I put that.
You need a call to action person.
Okay. Yep.
Somebody organized.
Yep.
Someone who likes to host.
Oh,
Hospitality.
so hospitality. That's a
Mhm.
good one. Yeah, good one. I love that.
Somebody
need
that
an
likes to make
encourager.
pretty graphics.
Definitely need somebody who is creative and has an aesthetic eye.
Mhm.
It's important if you're building a business on social media.
Also, people who are extremely driven and kind of like your no excuse people. Like I like those people because they show up when things are hard and life's busy and it's hectic, and it kind of sets the pace for the other team. Like I think of people on my team that show up that way, and it does set the pace. Like they show up on Saturday and say, this is what I've gotten done today. And all of a sudden, everyone else's activity amps up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What are some other strengths you're going to need people on your team to have?
I think like good communication skills and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
We need encouragers
Yep.
and cheerleaders.
Yep. I definitely put that one.
People who are analytical or ask good questions.
Oh, yes. That's me.
Thank God for you.
I did put that analytical because those people are the best troubleshooters.
Yeah, you need good facilitators of training also, people who can take something real complicated. It's one thing we love about April, like taking a complicated thing and like, I don't want to say dumbing it down, but I'm one of the people that it's dumbed down for. So I can say dumbing it down. Like when she took that social media training and then like, oh, I could do that. So people who are, I don't know what you call that.
Teaching.
It's
I
not
think
really
it's teaching.
It is teaching. Yeah. Cause it's not analytical. Her and I both are like, thank God we have Brittany to analyze things for us. But like, yeah, teaching, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's teaching.
We need people who have fun
Mm-hmm.
and bring fun.
Yeah. I agree.
And then we need those who bring a bedtime. We need those people. So everybody shows up the next day acting right.
Word. Yeah, I also think you need people who are good at recruiting. You need people who are good at inspiring others. Need some visionaries in there. Need some people who are tech savvy. Lord help us. Where are the tech savvy people at? So were you about to say something, Michelle? I see you unmuted.
No, I mean, it's just every color of the rainbow. I mean, the rainbow is a a rainbow without every color. We need every Enneagram type. We need every color. We need every skill, or the body's not complete. I mean, every pillar, every color. I mean, we need it. There's a
Sciencey
place for
people.
you.
What'd you say, Terry?
Sciencey people, like our green people. It's
Oh,
good to
yeah.
have somebody who likes to do that.
Yes, information people. Yeah, I love that. Yep. Okay, so that list is a pretty good list of strengths. So compare that list with the names of people on your team. What do you need to do? Do you need to train the ones you have? Do you need to add some new members? Both? If you have the right people in place, are you all united in vision? And if not, are you willing to do more or sacrifice more, or even adjust your course if necessary to add these people to your team? The answer is yes. Should be yes. All right. So the other thing he said, besides unity and diversity, is you need leadership. You can have some people with tons of potential on your team, but everybody faces challenges and hurdles. And so this is where leadership is really needed. Jules, how can coaching make the difference in how somebody progresses in their business or doesn't?
It makes all the difference in the world, because the coach can see from the outside perspective. And well, first of all, the goal of coaching is to help the person reach their potential. And what the coach does, I mean, think about it. The Olympics start in what, a week? No Olympic athlete gets there without a coach, because the coach understands the technique. The coach can see what's happening when you can't see, when you're running, what your ankle is doing or what your knee is doing or what your arm is doing. So the coach can bring that perspective to help tweak, to make you faster, better, and achieve that goal that you couldn't or didn't or just ignored because of whatever. But he is there to give you that, to help you reach the goal.
Yeah. And I wrote that down, what you said too, about even Olympic athletes have coaches. And I think that it's important. I just want to just put this disclaimer here, because when we talk about how a leader is responsible for their team winning, what inevitably comes up for people is fear. Like, oh my gosh, I've had people quit. It means I'm a terrible leader or what have you. Okay. So like the negative thoughts come up. And I just want to just kind of explain the balance between what you as a leader are responsible for and what you're not. Because you can just think of yourself as like, I mean, let's just say that you were a coach of an Olympic athlete. How much of that person's success are you responsible for? I mean, ultimately, you can't do the work for them, right? Or if you're a personal trainer at a gym and someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds over the next 12 months. I would like to transform my body and I want a bikini body by next summer. I mean, that's kind of equivalent to someone coming to you and saying, hey, I want to earn a 6-figure income. I currently earn $0 and I want to do it fast. Okay. So what's the personal trainer's role? What is the personal trainer responsible for? They're responsible for providing systems for that person to be successful, right? Helping that person, giving them the tools and the resources that they need. Maybe sometimes encouraging them when they're down, picking them up if they have repeated a move to failure, maybe help them get up off the floor. And they're going to sometimes be a hype man. And then when they fall off course, they're going to offer feedback. They're going to say hard things like, hey, you want to win? You told me this is what your goal was. And now you're missing 2 workouts this week, so holding people accountable and being willing to help that person grow through their own mindset hurdles, because guys, the business is so much parallel to fitness that it's not even funny. But this business is 80% mindset. It's only 20% skill set. But having a bikini body, same way, it's 80% mindset And so if as the personal trainer, you're going to be responsible for helping that person succeed, but ultimately, can you do their crunches? Can you do their lunges for them? Do you have any control whatsoever if they walk right out that door and go to Krispy Kreme? No, you do not. Okay. So there is a balance. Are you responsible for somebody else's success? No, not 100% responsible. Like, you can't make anybody do anything. But are there things that you can do to hone this skill of leadership? Yes, there are things that you can do to help your people succeed. Okay. And you can learn those skills. All right. I'm running out of time, so I have to rush through this.
Can I make one parallel?
Yeah, be very fast.
Okay, very fast. In the Olympics, in the Special Olympics, there are blind racers. They're runners, they're sprinters. They're blind. They cannot see. They actually have to wear a blindfold to prove that they cannot see. They have a running partner. Anybody seen that video? I see Michelle, you nodding. Okay. So they run, like I'm a seeing runner. I'm called a guide, but I'm on the starting line. I cannot move. I can't do anything until my blind runner, who's the actual contestant, moves. Then my job is to match his pace. And so when they win the gold medal, he ran the race, but he had a guide, a seeing guide, I'm seeing guide. And I have to maintain his pace. If he falls down, I fall down 100%. Like, they're attached, they're connected. That one falls down, the other one falls down. And so when I saw that video, I'm like, oh my, this is business. This is business right here. Like, this person who decides to join me is blind. They don't know anything. I can help them see and understand everything, but I can't pick their own foot up. I got to pick my foot up. So we both got to pick our own feet up, and my feet can move at your pace. Like, I can run as fast as you can run, but how fast are you going to run? Because you're going to set the pace. So I can show you what I can do. And if you want to do what I do, I can show you how to do what I do. So I thought it's a super powerful video to watch.
That's awesome. That's so good, Christina. Thank you for sharing that. I want to see that video. Maybe put it in our chat. Okay, so question for personal reflection. What is your level of expectation when it comes to succeeding for your team? How dedicated are you to winning your game? Are you going to have the law of victory in your corner as you fight? Or when times get tough, are you going to throw in the towel? If quitting is not an option for you, people are going to sense that. If you're strong in the law of victory, people will trust your leadership because they know that no matter what, you will be determined to figure it out. It's all figure outable. If quitting is an option for you, and like you kind of always have that in the back of your mind, if it doesn't work out, I'll go to plan B. People are going to sense that too. All right, I had another question, but I'm gonna have to skip it. So type this in the chat. Y'all just answer this in the chat. Everybody can answer. What happens? Actually, I'm skipping the question. Okay, victory is a choice. It's not that the people who appear to be the strongest leaders don't face hurdles that feel difficult to overcome, because we all do. But it's how they view the hurdles, and it's how they respond to the hurdles that makes the difference. So you just resolve yourself right now that no matter what happens, you just are not going to quit. The only way for you to not be a diamond is to quit. So what does the law of victory look like? It looks like this. Leadership is responsible. Losing is unacceptable. Passion is unquenchable. Creativity is essential. Quitting is unthinkable. Commitment is unquestionable. And victory is inevitable. All right, chapter 16, Law of the Big Mo. We're going to have to breeze through this one. Okay, this chapter really could be called Fast is Easy, Slow is Hard. My sponsor, Fallon, has said that to me a million times. When I get in my little contentment rut of when I was building this, of like, I'm just going to be consistent, and I'm going to I'll just hit my goals whenever in God's timing. It's all in God's timing, right? That's like the prettiest thing to wrap an excuse in, right? It's God's timing. Fast is easy, slow is hard. Okay. Momentum can move mountains, and you need to know that. It's so much speed. Success loves speed. And that is facts. Momentum is a leader's best friend. Many times it's the only thing that makes the difference between losing and winning. When you have no momentum, even the simplest task feel impossible. Small problems look like insurmountable obstacles. A credit card decline feels like you're just trying to climb Mount Everest with no shirt or shoes. On the other hand, when you have momentum on your side, the future looks so bright. Obstacles appear very small. Troubles feel very inconsequential. Momentum's like a magnifying glass. It makes things look bigger than they really are. It's the great exaggerator. When you have momentum, you're not sweating the small stuff. And the bigger problems, they just seem to work themselves out. Jules, very quickly, describe what it feels like when your team is in momentum.
It's so fun. Like Christmas morning, like for a while.
Every day.
Yes, it is definitely.
Do it again.
Yeah, it's kind of intoxicating. It really is. Okay, super fun. What man, Jules coming out the woodworks to answer that question. Everybody knows what momentum feels like. Everybody's like, give me all the momentum. So getting the momentum started is hard work. But once you're moving forward, you can really start to do some amazing things. Here's another thing about momentum. It's the leader's responsibility to create it. It takes a leader to create momentum. It does not create itself. If you're waiting to recruit a rock star and expect them to create the momentum, then you may as well just buy a lottery ticket and hope for the best. I mean, because that's the equivalent. Because that's not how this business works, guys. The responsibility to create the momentum is yours and yours alone. Not that you can create it alone, but the responsibility to create it is yours alone. You should not be counting on your team to produce your results, although it does take a team to win. Followers can catch momentum. If you're a good manager, then you're able to use momentum to your advantage once it has started. Everybody on a team enjoys the benefits of momentum, but creating it requires somebody who has vision, who can assemble a good team, and who can motivate people, or at least inspire people to take action. If the leader is looking for somebody to motivate him or her, that team's in trouble. It's the leader's responsibility to create the momentum and keep it going. And momentum begins inside of the individual leader. That's where it starts. It starts inside the leader before the fruit is ever seen. It starts with the leader's vision, her passion, her enthusiasm. It starts with energy inside the leader. You cannot kindle a fire in any other heart until it's burning within your own. When you have that vision and that passion and that enthusiasm, you literally are contagious. More contagious than the Rona. All right, so here's what I generally see happen when a leader creates momentum. They are really excited about the opportunity. And so they're so excited that they are boldly sharing the opportunity with everybody. Lots of people say no, lots of people ignore them, does not slow them down. At some point, though, somebody catches the vision with them. And when that happens, all that does is add fuel to the fire. And then that leader's even more excited. And they just start to believe everybody should be doing this. And then they share the opportunity with more people because of this. And more people catch the vision and jump on board. And momentum begets momentum. That is what happens. You want to start momentum? First of all, you're responsible for it. Secondly, do it. And do it, and do it, and do it. If you don't believe in the vision, or you don't enthusiastically pursue it, doing everything that you can to bring it to fruition, then you're not going to start making the small gains required to get the ball rolling. Y'all know the snowball uphill analogy, right? But if you model enthusiasm day in and day out, you're going to attract like-minded people to your team, and you're going to motivate other people to achieve. You're going to begin to see forward progress. And once you do, you're going to generate some momentum, but it always starts with the leader. Leaders are like thermostats. They control the temperature. Followers are like thermometers. They just record the temperature. So as a leader, have you taken responsibility for momentum of your team? Are you passionate about the vision? Are you displaying enthusiasm at all times, even on the days you don't feel like it? Are you working to motivate others when you don't feel like it? You have to model the attitude and the work ethic that you want to see in other people. And that's character leadership. Motivation, I keep saying the word motivation. You can't actually motivate someone else. You can inspire them to take action. People in this business have to be self-motivated. But again, that's going to start with the leader too. Motivation is a key factor in developing momentum. And the first step toward building momentum is removing things that could be demotivating elements within your team. Sometimes things are demotivating elements that we might not really think about. A couple of examples would be like a group chat. One person is going to host an event, and they're inviting a whole bunch of people. They're focused on being efficient with their time, and so they make a group chat. And then before you know it, you have people in there, like people who are excited in the chat. Like some people are excited, but then some people are like, oh, I can't come this weekend. My son's got a soccer game. And then the next person is like, oh, I got a church function this weekend. I'm not gonna be able to make that. And then soon you have like a chat full of regrets. And what do you think that does to the other people who were excited to come? It affects things, right? It makes them begin to think, oh, maybe it's not that important to me either. Maybe I also have something to do. So group chats is one example of something that could potentially be demotivating, because not everybody in a group, unless, I'm going to say this, unless everybody in the chat understands that they have a responsibility to say only what adds value. Because if they're saying things that are not adding value, they're subtracting value. And that affects your team. As a leader, you don't have the luxury to allow that to happen, because you're responsible, okay? For not just for people who are trying to build a business with you. So another thing that could be like demotivating would be like a dead chat. I've seen this happen over and over, like a leader, and it's a sign of leadership. So I always respect it if a leader is like, oh, I need a chat with all my workers in it, so we can like all have community and like say things to each other and have a chat. It'll be fun. And so the leader gets in there, and there might be like one person in there who's excited. Everybody else, all you see is the face bubble. And it's like showing up to a party where the only person excited is the host. And then you just feel sorry for them. Versus if you're in a chat that has momentum in it, and it feels like a place people want to be. I always get so tickled when, y'all know we do these giveaway chats every month. They're so fun. Everybody loves them. And there's been times when we've tried to change course, and then everybody's like, nope, we still love the giveaway chats. Going back to that. Well, so there's been a couple of times where the chat has exceeded the limit. And so we've had to split up, like Christina go do hers, my team outside of Christina go do ours. And literally I will hear from everybody all month. They'll be like, it feels slow this month. This month feels slow. I'm like, really? Because it's exactly the same amount of joins as last month. It's just the chat's a little slower because we split up, right? So it's different when you're in a team page. This also applies to a team page. You show up to a team page, the only person posting in there is the leader. Nobody else engaging, nobody posting. It's just like that party that nobody's really excited to be at or comes to. But if you show up to a team page and it's like hopping, or a group chat and it's hopping, there's a lot going on, it creates momentum. It's like, oh, this is a place where people want to be. People are excited to be here. And so I am too. So that, thinking of just little things like that, they can be demotivating factors. And so you as a leader have a responsibility to think through even little things like that, because it can become big things. All right. To encourage momentum, you need to help your people celebrate their accomplishments. Recognition is a huge, that's why we do these giveaway chats. That, and just because as leaders, we just like to show gratitude for people who are working hard and getting joins. And so it's just fun, right? And we do lots of recognition. We recognize rank advancements, we recognize prizes, we recognize when people earn incentives, we recognize when people do work behind the scenes. We try to. So recognition is a huge piece of this business that sometimes is underestimated. Like the power of it is underestimated, but it's rare. Like people don't get enough recognition in their normal jobs, or if they don't have a job in their daily life. I mean, think about other careers, how seldom they would get recognition for a job well done. Not saying it never happens, but recognition is a huge perk of this business. So it can encourage momentum. The more you recognize effort, but especially recognize people's results. I think that we should praise effort, but we should reward accomplishments. The more you reward success, the more people are going to strive for it. I don't know if y'all remember a few months back, Jules, you probably remember, but there was a time where people were shouting out somebody for getting their first join, or, which is totally fine. But like people would go make a post in the team page with a graphic because this person has 2 joins. They're almost silver. And we're like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not trying to, go get the 3rd. 2 joins is not a rank. So we're not trying to celebrate. Anyway, I'm not gonna go real deep into that because some of y'all might get offended with me. But anyways, so praise the effort, but reward actual accomplishment. Okay. Have a vision. Your vision motivates you, and it also makes you passionate. Assemble a good team. Figure out what the motivating factors are. Figure out what the demotivating factors are. Increase the motivating factors and decrease the demotivating factors. That clear? Great. Everybody be diamond tomorrow. So Jules, real quick, what are some motivating factors? What do you think motivates people? What makes people feel? And by the way, we talked about this on the Ruby call, but motivation is just an emotion. It's not even reality a lot of times. It's just a feeling. That's all it is. But what makes people feel motivated?
Progress.
Yes. So what are some examples of progress?
There's a lot of examples of progress. It depends on what we're talking about. But so for someone who their business, they've been at a slower pace, when they have a couple of new people on board and they, so-and-so has a new join and so-and-so does, like there's a little pockets of activity everywhere that feels like progress. Some people it's just, hey, you know what? I had a dry spout. And progress for me feels like consistency. Like I've shown up for myself. I've kept promises to myself. I'm now motivated to work tomorrow because I worked today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think hitting a rank is incredibly motivating. Somebody hits silver, super motivated. Recognition is motivating. That just feels really good to be shouted out publicly. Have everybody seen that? People having good results on the products, that's really motivating. What can be some roadblocks to momentum? What could be demotivating?
Comparison.
Yes. You've been looking at my notes.
I have so many things to say and I'm like, this is not your spot. This is not your spot. It's not your spot. Not your spot.
Comparison is incredibly demotivating. Go ahead, Terry.
not acknowledging like their wins.
Yeah. That's a good one. I didn't think of that one.
I think lack of vision or like not knowing like the goal, the end goal, like it goes back to what we were talking about before, like unity of vision.
Yeah. If you don't have vision, you're definitely not going to be motivated. People feeling stuck, that's definitely demotivating. You feel stuck or like a lack of progress, incredibly demotivating. Points going backwards, that doesn't feel very motivating. So
unrealistic expectations, I think sometimes demotivates. When someone doesn't have a realistic like view of what is reality, they think that, oh, well, this is how I expected it to be, or this is how it once was for me. And so this changed, like this is different than it was when I started. And so I'm making that mean something. Okay, well, that can be demotivating. Like you might come in super strong. Listen, I've never been impressed with somebody comes in super strong because it doesn't mean anything for long term. No more than I've been super unimpressed with someone who's slow. I was slow starting, and I've been slow every single step of the way. So demotivating is unrealistic expectations, like thinking one thing. People who get so upset when someone turns off their subscription, like, bro, you wouldn't be so upset if you had realistic expectations. Like, that's okay. That's 1 out of 10. Like, you got a 90% retention rate. Like, what you upset about? Like, realistic expectations. I think not having them, super unmotivating. In the same way that people who go join a gym and they think, I'm going to join on January 1, and on February 1, I'm like, I'm gonna be a bodybuilder. And then February 1 comes around and their weight is the same. They got maybe a little less fat, a little more muscle, whatever. But what they decided was the expectation did not meet their reality. So now they're unmotivated instead of seeing, hey, you know what? I was consistent for the first time in my life for a whole entire month. Like that is progress. So unrealistic expectations. Finally.
yeah. Well, that was actually my next question. What can you do as a leader to like lessen these demotivating factors? I mean, like comparison or points going backwards, or just like any of the challenges that are normal that literally every single very successful person in this company has faced or still faces, just offering perspective about these things, normalizing the struggle, normalize it, because sometimes people just want to feel normal. Sometimes people are hard on themselves and they think, well, maybe I'm just not very good at this, but they don't realize that the results they're creating, they're just, it's normal, it's typical. They just have to keep going. If they had, like Christina said, expectations that they were excited about this product, and so all their friends and family were going to be too, and they reach out to 5 of them, but none of them respond, and they don't know that it's generally 1 in 10 response rate, they're going to feel pretty defeated. So as a leader, you can just offer perspective to lessen these demotivating factors. All right. Even average people can perform far above average in an organization that has great momentum. You guys ever seen that? So what that means is, and we'll end on this note, it just means that you need to keep your people plugged into what the team is doing. It's so, so important for all the same reasons that I said. A hop-in team page or a chat where people are excited to be there, like the momentum spurs people on. It allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. You want momentum. You are a leader, so you are responsible for creating the momentum. So get out there and go do it. All right, that is the end. And I
just do it. I'm gonna do it. Just do it. I'm gonna do it. Just do it.
Is this,
do it.
What chapter was this? Hold on. 17, 18, 19.
16. 16 is Big Mo.
Okay, so we have 2 weeks left of this book study. All right, I will see y'all next week.